Hi there, my name is Jen. Welcome to Pilates in a Flash. This is your 30-minute intense Pilates workout. Today you're going to need a pillow, okay, something soft, okay, and something light, and as well as 2 hand weights. I'm going to go with 2 cans of beans today, okay? Make sure your space is cleared out and that it's safe for you to work out in. And if you need to hit pause or you need to modify, please do so. It's going to be a tough workout today, so feel free to take breaks. Okay, we're actually going to start by standing up today. Okay, so I'm going to stand on up, taking the pillow with me, landing your feet on the mat or on the floor. Big breath in, your eyes are going to come up as the arms come up towards the ceiling, and then you're going to nod your chin, arms come down, and you're going to curl down through your spine to hang out with the crown of your head hanging towards the floor. You can send your hips back behind you a little bit, soften the knees, and just hang out here for a couple of seconds, breathing in and out. Before you come up, you're going to tuck the tailbone under, pull the belly button in, and try to push through the heels as you stack the spine to come back up. Okay? One more time. Arms come up, eyes come up, breathe in. Lower the pillow down, eyes look down, nod the chin to chest, start to curl the upper spine and lower yourself down, sending the hips back in space and softening the knees. Breathe in and out. One more time, we're going to hang out here. Before you come up, pull the belly button in towards the spine, tuck the tailbone under, and start to stack the spine back up piece by piece, with the head being the last thing to come up. Good. Okay, you're going to take the pillow up and you're going to do a small little side bend. We're going to side bend, up and over, and then back to center. Shoulders away from the ears, pillow reaches the opposite side, back to center. One more time. Pillow comes up, spine is nice and long, lifting the rib cage up and over, back to center. Watch the hips don't get away from you. Breathe in, reach the rib cage up and over, back to center. Good. You're going to take that pillow, you're going to put it between the upper inner thighs. We're going to warm up our calves and our hamstrings. So from here, you're going to think about your feet, and they're fairly close together. Mine are about 1 inch, 2 inches apart. Okay, I'm going to let my arms be heavy by my side, and I'm going to slowly raise my heels up and then lower them down. I'm going to lift my heels up and lower them down. So as I lift my heels up, I'm thinking of coming up onto the balls of my feet and all my toes at the exact same time. So my pinky toe and my big toe at the same time, okay? Notice if maybe you roll out to in or in to out, okay? If you supinate or pronate your foot, try to think about really coming up, and I use my hands to help my brain think about my toes, on all my toes, okay? So big toe, pinky toe, all at the same time. Now you're gonna add a little inner thigh work. So as you lift up, you're going to squeeze the pillow with the upper inner thighs, okay? Upper inner thighs, give this little kind of puff on the pillow, and then lower on down. It doesn't have to be 110%. We're just waking up our upper inner thighs, and you're going to connect it to the belly button. So you're going to lift up, squeeze the pillow, pull the belly in, and lower on down. Lift up, squeeze the pillow, belly button in, and lower on down. Your hips don't change, so your pelvis stays exactly the same. Your spine stays the same as well. So we don't tuck the tailbone under at any point, okay? Making sure that there's still a little curve in the low back as you squeeze the pillow and pull your belly button in. Some people like to tuck and make it feel like they're pulling their belly button in, but I don't want the pelvis to move. The pelvis is nice and stable in a somewhat neutral position, okay? We're going to pick up the pace now. So we're going to squeeze the pillow a little bit more, and I just move my feet a little bit closer together. So I'm going to have a constant squeeze on that pillow with my upper inner thighs. I'm going to continue to pull my belly button and my low abs as I squeeze that pillow, and I'm going to move my heels up and down a little bit quicker. So I'm just tapping the heels on the ground. Now I'm going to think more about my quads. So my quads are going to be nice and strong to lift those kneecaps and straighten my legs a little bit more. That thigh, inner thigh working, quads are working to straighten the legs, heels are tapping down, feeling my calves, maybe up into the hamstrings, right? Hamstrings right into glutes. Keep going. Low belly in, belly button in. Good. We're going to go for about 10 more, and we're going to go a little bit quicker. 8, 7, 6, 5, squeeze the pillow, 4, there we go, 3,
2, 1. Good. Letting go of that. You should feel some hamstrings, okay? I'm gonna come into a little squat here. So I'm gonna send my hips back, my arms in front. Hips go back, then the knees bend, okay? When you do your squat, you always think about that small curve in the low back. We maintain it as our bum goes back behind us and on the way up. Pushing into the heels hard into the floor. On the way back up, oh, too hard. Lifting my toes, whoops. Okay, try to keep your toes on the ground. Good, we're gonna go for 4. Okay, reach forward, shoulders away from the ears. 3, pull the belly button up to support that little curve in the low back. 2, okay, 1 more, we're gonna hold it on down. Good, we're gonna hold it down here. We're gonna do a little pulse. But when you pulse, you're gonna think about your ankles moving, okay? Less about the knees and the hips, they're gonna move, but the ankles need to bend. So we're gonna do a little pulse and we're gonna move our arms, okay? Alternating our arms forward and backward. And as you bend and come back up just halfway, you're thinking about bending from the ankles. So lowering the shins down towards the tops of feet. You should feel your shins working. If you push into your heels, you should feel your glutes working, hamstrings working. Tailbone stays back out behind you. Don't let it tuck under. Okay, a tucked under tailbone looks like this, right? I don't want that. I want an untucked tailbone shooting back behind you, little curve in the low back. Belly button comes in. Good. We're gonna go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, bend from the ankles. 3, 2, ankles. 1. Good. Rise on up. Oh, excellent. Okay, leaving the legs alone just for a second. Take a nice deep breath in. You're just going to rotate your rib cage while we're here. Really gently to the left. Breathe in. And gently to the right. So the ribs get to move, but the hips and knees stay nice and still. Okay? So the pelvis and the thigh bones don't get to move. So your rotation might be really small and tiny, and that's fine. We're only going as far as we have mobility in our rib cage. Our mobility might be limited, but that's okay. 1 more. Good. Okay. I'm going to meet you down on the mat. So make sure you clear up what you have and come on down and join me. All right, here we are. So our legs are warmed up, glutes are warmed up a little bit, hamstrings definitely. We're gonna do a little cat-cow, so we're gonna round our spine, okay? We're gonna pause in this cat position, crown our head down towards the ground, tuck the tailbone under, pull the spine up, and then we're gonna relax and come into that extended position. So the top of the head reaches towards you, the tailbone reaches behind you, the breastbone floats forward a little bit, and then you let it go. We're gonna do that cat position again, rounding up. And then the crown of the head reaches forwards. Your eyes stay low to the ground. Tailbone back behind you. Breastbone floats forward. Excellent. From here, you're going to dig your toes into the ground. Okay. Shoulders away from the ears. Knees underneath the hips. Hands underneath the shoulders. Lift the breastbone away from the ground. So making sure that your breastbone is lifted. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of those. Lifting and lowering of the breastbone or the rib cage. Your little curve in the low back doesn't change, and you keep the tailbone shooting out back behind you. So you're just finding some nice mobility in those shoulder blades. Can you move them away from each other as they slide towards each other as the breastbone comes down? And then they move away from each other as the breastbone comes away from the floor, right? We're going to go for 3, lift and lower, 2, 1 more, lift and hold. Pulling the shoulder blades around the rib cage, tailbone still out back behind you, little curve in the low back. We're going to lift and hover the knees off the mat and lower it on down. Lift and hover the knees off the mat and lower it on down. Shoulders away from the ears, ribs lifted up, lift and lower. We're going to do 1 more, lift, and then we're going to come into a cat position. So I want you to tuck the tailbone under, drop the head down, okay? Pull the shoulders away from the ears in a nice curled position. You're going to lift the knees up and then lower on down. Breathe in, pull the spine up, the ribs up, tuck the tailbone, head is down, lift on up and lower on down. You're trying to make yourself a perfect seat position. It's not going to be perfect, but try your best. Tuck the tailbone under, drop the head, pull the belly button up, lift on up and lower on down. 1 more time. You should feel your upper abs working to round your spine, okay? Tailbone stays tucked, belly button up, lift, and lower. Good. I'm going to shake up my wrists, okay? Shoulders away from my ears, coming on back to all fours. Good. From here, we're going to grab that can in our right hand, okay? We're going to bring that can out my left hand. My right hand is heavy into the mat with my left knee. My tailbone's untucked, shoulders away from the ears. Breastbone is lifted. You're gonna lift and lower that can. Lift and lower. It might be lightweight, but it is challenging. Shoulders are staying down so that the upper traps are not working and we're not overloading our neck, okay? I want you to keep heavy in that right hand, left knee to find a diagonal piece of support. We're gonna go for 3, 2, 1. Hold it up. You're gonna feed the can underneath, rotating the rib cage, and then you're gonna bring your arm into that T position and up towards the ceiling with that rib cage following. It's a very small rotation of that rib cage, but you should feel obliques if you pull your belly button in and keep your ribs lifted, helping you rotate that rib cage under and then up towards the ceiling with the arm. One more. Under, breathe in, shoulders away from the ears, and back to center. Switching sides, okay? Pushing into that left hand and that right knee. Belly button pulls up, tailbone stays back behind you, ribs lift. Now lift and lower that weight. Your arm is in an airplane shape or a T shape. Okay, so your arm is straight up beside you. Shoulders pull away from the ears. Breathe in. Heavy into that left hand, that right knee. Good. You're going to do one more and hold it up. And then you're going to feed that weight underneath, rotating the rib cage. And then you're just going to come back to center and then go up a little towards the ceiling. Feed the weight, okay? And then bring it back to center and up towards the ceiling. Pull that belly button up, but don't lose that tailbone. Tailbone is back out behind you. One more. Feed. Excellent. Okay. Swinging those legs around, sitting up nice and tall. Okay, grab the pillow, put it between the upper inner thighs. Make sure the cans are beside you. We don't need them just yet, but we'll definitely get to them. Okay, so as I sit up tall here, I'm thinking my arms are out in front of me. I'm squeezing that pillow with the upper inner thighs. We've already warmed them up. So put them on and pull the belly button in, flex the feet. I'm going to articulate my spine back. So I'm going to tuck my tailbone and start to curl back and down. Coming halfway, okay, starting to land a little more of my spine on the mat, piece by piece, and I'm going to hold, okay. What I want to avoid is my chest coming forward. I actually want to scoop my body, okay, from my pubic bone to my breastbone to my forehead, okay. Instead of leaving that upper spine behind, I want to scoop it in that shallow C position and then come back up, okay. So bring that upper spine back with you in a more articulated fashion instead of leaving it straight. Flex the feet, squeeze the pillow, tuck the tailbone under, and start to scoop, right? Articulate your way down, right? Lowering down, down, down. Pubic bone is pulling towards the breastbone. Belly button is pulling towards the spine, and then come back up from the top of the head. One more time. Shoulders away from the ears. Pull the belly button in, squeeze the pillow, flex the feet. Okay, roll off the sits bones, come back. Little shallow C position, okay. My ears are back with my shoulders. It's not hanging forward. We're gonna hold back here and we're gonna take one arm up towards our ear and then down, the opposite arm up towards our ear, then down. One more time, single arms and we go right into double, okay. So now both arms, once this arm comes down, comes up, but shoulders stay down. That's the tricky part. I don't care about how high your arms go. Your shoulders cannot go towards your ears. We're going to go for 3. Shoulders stay down. Belly button towards the spine. 2. Don't lose it. Okay. Pubic bone kind of curls towards the breastbone. 1. Excellent. And I want you to lower down slowly. Okay. You can keep the pillow where it is, but you're going to straighten out your legs. We're going to curl back up and do one more variation with the cans. So I'm going to squeeze the pillow, make my legs nice and long, nod my chin, and articulate my spine to come up, right? So I'm feeling for each vertebrae as I pull my belly button down, coming off the mat slowly. If you need the backs of thighs, you can grab it, okay? Coming on up and sitting up nice and tall. Good. Shoulders away from the ears. I'm going to bend my knees a little bit, flex my feet, okay? The flexing of the feet should connect to that low belly as well. So I'm flexing my feet, engaging my quads to lift my kneecaps, and thinking about pelvic floor and low belly pulling in a little bit. Good. I'm gonna squeeze that pillow, shoulders away from the ears, grab my weights. Excellent. I'm gonna bring them into this half moon position. I'm gonna start to articulate my way back. All right, and I'm gonna pause. I'm not gonna go back as far as I did before. I'm gonna bring my right arm open and move my breastbone towards the can of my arm and back to center. I'm gonna bring my left arm open, moving my breastbone towards the can and the arm. Okay, so I'm thinking about that rib cage moving. My hips and my knees do not. And I continually pull my belly button in towards my spine. My shoulders are away from my ears. My biceps are working. My arms are working. That's fine. Okay, but I keep thinking, I'm gonna keep pulling inwards. Okay, I'm not gonna lose it. And I'm gonna weight the opposite sit bone of the direction I'm going. So when I go left, I get heavy in the right sit bone. Okay, when I go right, I get heavy in the left sit bone. One more. Doesn't matter which direction. Excellent. Come back up to seated. We're going to curl back down again, articulating our spine. There's a theme. It's articulation today, okay? So I'm going to bring my arms out in front of me. I'm going to squeeze the pillow, tuck the tailbone, and start to curl down towards the floor, really thinking about laying my spine slow. As slow as possible, low belly in, down towards the mat. Excellent. Good, okay? Relax the shoulders. You can get rid of that pillow for now. Okie dokie. Shoulders away from the ears. I'm just going to tip my pelvis a little bit, right? So I'm thinking about my pelvis like a bowl. And I'm going to gently rock it towards the mat and then gently rock it up towards my breastbone. And it's quite small. It's going to move my spine a little bit, which is great. But I'm not going to force it. There's no forcing of a direction, and there's no forcing of that low back. That low back is a little bit off the mat when my pubic bone tips away from me, and then it comes towards the mat a little bit when my pubic bone tips towards my breastbone, right? But I'm not swishing my low back out to move my pelvis. Okie dokie. I'm going to level my pelvis, arms down by my side. From here, I'm going to push into my feet and lift my pelvis up towards the ceiling. Okay, finding hamstrings, glutes, and lower on down. So I'm feeling for glute max now. Glute max is big glute max. They're big bum muscle, okay? And it's squeezing towards each other as I lift and lower. I find feet for hamstrings, pelvis comes up like a plate, then I lower on down. Again, I don't care about the height of my pelvis. Yes, one day I'll come all the way up. What I care about is that it stays somewhat of a neutral position, especially at that top height. Right? I'm not flicking my pubic bone towards my breastbone. I'm not losing that little curve in the low back. We're going to go for 4. Relax on the way down. For 3. Good. For 2. Hold it up. Okay? Push into the feet nice and hard. Hamstrings on. Bum and cheeks come towards each other, not under. Pull the belly button down. Now you're going to push into the left foot, right shoulder. Yeah. And then switch. Right foot, left shoulder. Okay? Left foot, right. Right foot, left, but there's no swaying of the pelvis. The pelvis doesn't get to move. If I was watching you in your living room, I would see nothing, and I wouldn't be able to tell which foot or shoulder you're pushing into. Okay, for 2 more, keep pushing straight down. 1 more, push straight down, pause. Left foot, right shoulder gets heavy. We lift the right leg into tabletop. We straighten it out, we lower it down a little bit, and we lift it up. Pelvis doesn't move when we lift and lower the leg. Bum cheeks squeeze towards each other. Foot is heavy into the mat for 2 more. Okay, low belly on. Hold that pelvis still. 1 more. Lower it down. Lift it up. Bend the knee. Put the foot down. Right foot, left shoulder gets heavy. Lift the left leg up. Straighten it up. Lower it down a little bit and lift it up. Now, the pelvis doesn't get to bounce around. That foot stays heavy, that shoulder stays heavy. Bum cheeks squeeze towards each other. Good. 1 more time, lift and lower. Bend the leg, lower on down. Excellent. Okay, we're going to work a little more abdominals. So hands come behind the head, shoulders away from the ears. Okay. You're going to breathe in and you're going to let the air out of the mouth. You're going to anchor the pelvis. Okay. So you're going to think about that pelvis being nice and neutral. The pubic bone is flush with the hip bones, and there's a little curve in the back. So when I anchor my pelvis, I now need to work to get the rest of those ribs, those low ribs, down on the mat. And that means you can think about your rib cage kind of squeezing or gently coming together and down. Sometimes that helps. Or your upper abdominals pulling downwards to get those ribs down. But I'm already activated, even though it doesn't look, I'm not doing anything except for putting my spine in a neutral position, head on the mat, ribs on the mat, pelvis on the mat, and my pelvis is in a neutral position, okay? Hands come behind the head. I'm already engaged to pull those ribs down. The low ribs are my anchor point. I nod the chin and I curl my spine, peeling it off the mat, and then lower on down. Notice I don't care how high I come, and actually lower is better, so that you feel every single vertebrae on the mat lifting up and then lowering back. It's more about the articulation of the spine than it is about how high your ab curl comes. And really, it's not about height. It's about kind of curling yourself like a snail shell. Really, that's kind of what not your end goal, because I don't know if we ever want to be that tight in a curl, but that's what we're trying to do with our upper spine. We're trying to round the upper spine. Good. We're going to go for 3. Don't lose a little curve in the back. 2. Notice if that pubic bone tends to swing towards your breastbone. 1. Excellent. Legs come into tabletop. Okie dokie. From here, we're going to do that nice ab curl. We're going to anchor the tailbone. Last week we ended with a whole bunch of legs if you did last week's class, like our straightening and our opening. We're going to add on to that, okay? So shoulders away from the ears, ab curl on. We're going to send our right leg away and then bring it on back. We're going to send our left leg away and bring it on back. You stay curled with the upper body, but you don't smush out the low back, okay? You keep anchored in the low ribs, keep pushing the breastbone back behind you. Now, one leg is gonna go away, 2 legs, okay? Now we're gonna lower our right leg down and lift it up. We're gonna lower our left leg down and lift it up. Right leg down, nice and slow, okay? Left leg down, the pelvis doesn't move. You keep that ab curl on, 1 more each side. Shoulders away from the ears, good. Excellent, bend the knees, uncurl. Excellent, guys. Okay, so I'm going to let those legs go long. Whew, shoulders away from the ears. You can move your legs and your thigh bones a little to the left and a little to the right, and a little rotation for me. I'm going to push my left leg hard into the mat. I'm going to bring my ribs down, belly button down, anchor the pelvis. So I'm really engaged from my pinky toe or my big toe on my left leg all the way up to basically my collarbone to lift my right leg up and then lower on down. I'm going to do it again. Push into the left leg hard. Okay, anchor the pelvis, anchor the ribs, lift on up. It is not feeling easy. It feels almost like you're doing a plank, an isometric contraction on your back just to float that leg, and it's a float. I'm going to do 1 more. Float the leg. Excellent. We're going to lower the right leg down, push into the mat, ribs down, little curves still there. Level the pelvis and hold it still to bring the left leg up, excuse me. Right leg is heavy, left leg floats. Okay, ribs down, belly button down, abdominals on. Good. From here, we're going to come on to our left side. And you're going to come onto your left forearm. Okie dokie. Flex the feet. Reach that arm up and over just to move the rib cage to start, okay? So the rib cage arcs up and over. You're doing a little side bend, okay? We're thinking side bend so our ribs lift, our hips don't move too much. Hips stay kind of still as the ribs lift up and over. Good, okay. I'm going to do a bridge, okay? So my bridge, my side bridge, means my tailbone is out. I'm going to do it with a fairly straight leg. The modified version is with both knees bent, okay? So my legs are going to be straight. My top leg is going to be in front. My bottom leg is going to be behind me. Scissored legs. Inner thighs are doing lots of work. Before I lift, shoulders away from the ears. Elbows shuffled underneath that shoulder on the left side. I'm going to push into the sides of my feet, and I might have to move them a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to lift on up. Good. Squeeze the inner thighs together, bum cheeks together, but keep a little curve in the low back. Don't shoot your pelvis towards me. Keep the hips stacked. Low belly pulls in. You're gonna take that top arm up and you're gonna rotate the rib cage to bring the arm underneath and then back. The rib cage rotates, it's very small. The hips don't follow, okay? Rib cage rotates a little bit and then back to center. Shoulders away from the ears. One more time, rotate the rib cage. Excellent. Come on down. Good. We're going to stay on this form, keep the ribs lifted. We're going to do side bum here. We're going to lift and lower that top leg. The knee and the foot face forward. The hips don't get to rock, so I don't really lift my leg too high. If I lift my leg really high, then the whole body is going to go kind of crazy, right? I want the upper body and the hips to stay nice and still as the thigh bone lifts and lowers, okay? So feeling for any movement in the pelvis, watching that the spine is not too far forward in the chest, right? So try to relax your breastbone or think about pulling the front of the ribs back a little bit, okay? Shoulders stay away from the ears. Feeling for side bum and hip. You're going to lift and lower for 3. Good. For 2, we're going to pulse. 1. Halfway down and up, halfway down and up, halfway down and up, halfway down. If you don't quite feel your hip, move your leg back in space behind you a little bit. Hips don't move, thigh bone moves back. That's better for me. For 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, hold it up. Float the leg forward, point the foot and kick the leg back. I need really hamstring glute. Float the leg forward, kick the leg back. Hamstring glute, float the leg forward, low belly in. I love this move because I really feel my hamstring and my glute. One more time, okay? Bring it back. Good. Lower it on down. Come onto your knees. Cross your arms across your chest. Breathe in. We're rolling into the end of this video. We gotta do our bridge on the opposite side and our side bum, excuse me. And then we have one final move. Okay, let's get into it. Right arm comes onto that mat. Shoulders away from the ears. Arc the ribs up and over, but try not to move the hips. So the hips stay still as the ribs lift and arc with the arm, right? One more time, bring the arm up, lift the ribs. One side might be easier. Yep, the other side is definitely easier to move my ribs. Okay, legs are nice and straight. Top leg is in front, bottom leg is behind you. You find those inner thighs. If you need to modify, you just do 2 bent knees. Pushing into the feet to find the obliques, right? I'm not going to tip my hips. I'm going to keep my tailbone back out behind me, and I'm going to lift my hips straight up towards the ceiling. Belly button in, low abs in, inner thighs on. Whoo. From here, I'm going to rotate my rib cage just a little bit, and then it comes back to center, right? It's my rib cage that moves and that upper arm, but my hips don't move. 2 more, because my hips are moving. There we go. 1 more. Hips stay still, low belly, and squeeze the bum. Inner thighs. Good. Lower it on down. Stay on that forearm. Okay, I'm going to straighten out that top leg, bend the bottom. Lift and lower the top leg. Shoulders away from the ears, breastbone back in space. Good. We're going to go for 5. Okay. Watch the pelvis moving. 4, 3, 2, 1. I got to send the leg back just a little bit. Halfway down and up, halfway down and up. And I also have to make sure that my thigh bone is a little more rotated towards the ground. My knees and toes aren't even thinking about going up towards the ceiling. Then I feel more hip and side bum. We're going to go for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Float the leg forward, stretch the leg long, and then float the leg back a little bit. Pelvis doesn't move as that thigh bone comes back. Float the leg forward. Okay, hips stay stacked, thigh bone comes back behind me. 2 more, forward, back behind me. 1 more, forward, back behind. Good. Excellent. Okie dokie. So our final move today, we're going to sit up nice and tall. Okay. You can always modify this move by keeping both legs on the ground or bending a knee. Okay. It's a bit complicated and it's a bit advanced. It's really advanced. Take your time. If it's a flop, it's a flop. Okay. Don't worry about it. Shoulders away from the ears. Okay, so you're going to take your right leg and you're going to lift it up into that tabletop position, but just really small. So I'm going to lift my right leg up, okay? From here, I'm going to sit up nice and tall, and I'm going to bring my leg in front of me, straightening the knee. and I'm gonna grab more of like behind my knee and my calf. Okay, we did this once a long time ago, okay? I want you to think belly button to spine, okay? Low belly in, shoulders away from the ears. And I'm gonna start to go and articulate myself backwards, but I'm gonna do it from my tailbone first. My right leg is gonna come up as I go back. So I'm gonna take my right leg up a little bit. My arms are not gonna be heavy or really strong on my leg. I'm gonna tuck my tailbone as my right leg comes up, and I'm gonna slowly, and you can move the left leg, slowly go down, okay? And I'm gonna move my hand down my thigh as I slowly articulate my way down towards the mat. Perfect, okay? The hard part is coming up without grabbing your leg like you're coming out of a swimming pool, okay? So you have to try and keep your hands as light as possible and not use too much momentum on your leg. So here we go. We nod the chin, we curl, so that articulation is happening already. We pull the belly button in, and I feel from my spine peeling up off the mat. I'm gonna climb my hands up my leg, my right leg, right? But I'm not pulling on my right leg. And I'm gonna sit back up, and then I'm gonna lower my leg down. Let's do the left side. Okay. Left leg, sit up tall in those sits bones. Left leg comes forward, okay? Grab the back of that left leg, kind of get comfortable with it out in front, okay? I'm gonna start to walk my hands up my leg, okay? I haven't moved backwards yet. And I'm gonna tuck my tailbone, right? And start to curl back, pulling the belly button in, low belly in. As I curl back and lay my spine down, my leg comes a little bit higher into the air. I'm gonna move my right foot. Good, and I'm gonna lay my spine down. I'm gonna nod my chin, and I'm gonna slowly articulate my spine to come back up without pulling on my leg. Oh, that's the hard part. Okay, up I come, and then I lower the leg down. Good job. All right, I'm gonna lay down on my back. Take a big deep breath in. Clap my hands together and rock my ribcage one direction. Rock the ribcage the opposite direction. Breathe in and out. One more time. Excellent, guys. You can take your legs wide. You can windshield wiper the thigh bones really gently. Watch the hips, they don't go rocking left and right. The hips stay fairly still, the pelvis stays on the mat. For 3, for 2, for 1. Good, we are done. Coming on to my left side, sitting on up. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a great workout. I will see you next week. Bye.